That sounds great. There's also Intel's Bleep app.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was the one I forgot about. Yes, we should absolutely talk about this.
I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
It is so weird. We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This is
great.
There is so many opinions.
Oh, Facebook data breach is the other one. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if I have much to say about that other than the fact that the European Data Commissioner being in the leak is my favorite thing I've ever seen.
It's a good day to remind everyone to change their passwords.
Oh, yeah, actually, I've got a good one on there. Okay.
Facebook. Oh, man.
Facebook thing. Just some small shit.
I wish, it's like antithetical to their business model for password manager companies to like share data.
Mm-hmm.
Because you kind of go to them for them to not share data. But I'm curious. I would love like what are the like 1Password signups and stuff. I don't think enough people are aware how bad the Facebook thing is because Facebook won't admit that it happened.
I feel
just
like
had like a really defensive blog post against like the reporting on it's not fair.
I can't believe they won't even notify people. That's my favorite. That's the thing about Facebook PR that strikes me is the true horrible thing of them is like they will fight to the death over a technicality rather than fixing it.
Right.
Like, no, it wasn't a hack. Somebody exploited our systems to do this, and it's like that's still a hack. It like falls into the definition of hack, but they'll like fight to the death to like discredit the journalists on this like one word. Oh,
well, and
they're
if
the
we're
worst.
getting down to like the definition of words rather than talking about the issue, I mean, you know they're screwed. Like they're just distracted. Yeah. Anyway.
Also, there's the Oracle thing, which is also pretty interesting. I have not talked about that for a long time. How Google won the copyright thing.
Wasn't that lawsuit from like 2013 or something?
Yes.
Wow.
2010.
No. My God. Amazing.
Oh, acquired in 2010. Yeah, 2013 lawsuit. Yeah. Okay.
Shit.
Okay. Shall we talk about it? Do you want to talk about the chip shortage? What is the latest on that?
Let's skip it.
No, we're going to skip that. Okay, great.
Well, the latest is that the chip shortage. Jesus, fuck, the chip shortage is still going on, and it's getting worse and worse because there's basically one company that makes all the chips, and now Intel also went to this factory with a part of their chips, and so now everyone's fucked basically.
Yeah.
I wanna look something up about the Bleep app, but I can't find what. Is it by Microsoft?
Intel.
No, it's Intel. Here, I put it in the channel.
Intel.
Just real quick before we get started, do you want to I can drop a live stream link into Discord.
To what? Sorry.
So if we're not on Spaces, which is totally fine.
on here?
I can drop a link in Discord so people can watch. As
Yeah, I mean,
members.
people could hang out in here. I don't mind that. Just don't like broadcasting. When I just woke up to Twitter, all of the Twitters.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Bleep app first, for sure.
Yes.
We're gonna yell.
The Intel one?
Yes.
Sick. Sorry. I still cannot believe this is a real screenshot. The white nationalism slider. Gets me every time.
It gets who is like no, not all of it, but just like a little bit of it.
What? Yeah.
That's
like,
the
I
part
want
that
some.
gets me. It's a slider.
I would like some. I
Don't
like
talk
that
about
the
it yet,
N-word
though.
has an on-off switch, but the white nationalism is like, I'd like some or most.
Don't talk about it too much yet. We want to keep it for the show, or are we already?
Fuck,
Or
funny.
did we already start? I don't know. Confusing.
We're there now. I'm just trying to see what it looks like for people viewing it.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'm going to grab my drink bottle. Then we can actually start.
Cool.
I wish there was more tools here for the like for me to see the audience.
Because where are we exactly live now? In Riverside.
In Riverside. Like people can watch us do this.
Oh, in the podcast.
They just click the link and then they can watch this. But There's no ability for us to, you know. Maybe someone joined. So was that you?
Yeah, me. You can actually start a live call in.
Mm-hmm. We have people call in live. They've been like anecdotally calling it webinar mode, which I hate.
Webinar mode. Oh my god, what 90s bullshit is this?
Yeah.
I love it when I get an invite for a webinar. I'm like, ooh, it's 2001.
Yeah. Well, Webflow has a webinar coming up, and I was like, they really could have like Webflow in our, like they really could have made it better.
Zing.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, or just call it like a presentation or a meetup.
Live stream. Just call it a live stream.
Virtual meetup.
Just call it a live stream. When someone does a live stream on YouTube, what's different? There's a chat.
A webinar is like implying, I guess you can talk, but I don't get it.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, you're listening to Charge Tech Podcast, episode 167, a podcast that looks at tech and how it's shaping the world around us. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Grosser, and joining me are...
Frederique and Matti.
Owen Williams.
Hey.
It me.
How are you guys?
Great.
I'm fine. It's like laughing. I mean, my state is bad. Fine. It's been a week.
Your state is bad. At least you are locking down.
Yeah, I was just about to make a joke before we started that the best part about wearing over-ear headphones is you can't tell how bad my hair is. It's so bad. I think I haven't had a haircut in like 11 months maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. At least we're locking down, I guess.
Yeah, I mean... It's wild out here.
Yeah, what's I mean, last time we talked it was cloudy with a chance of COVID, but like, what's going on in the Netherlands?
Well, it's kind of strange. Like we had winter that was like 1 week, actual winter, and then we had fake spring, and then we had winter again. And
it snowed last week, right?
We had fake spring again because it's 21 degrees.
Holy shit.
And then exactly a week later, it was snowing and hailing for 2 days, which is winter again. So I guess now we're in a sort of nothing.
Nice time to stay inside.
I think it's spring now because the forecast is like it's just going to rain a bunch. And I feel like that's the vibe for spring.
Right, we're now getting into the part of spring where it will just rain for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, and then maybe we'll get a little bit warmer weather at some point, which would be great. And COVID is completely going to shit because
every variant here.
Oh, so do we. You've got to catch them all.
Yeah, and also on top of that, we are having like 7,000 a day.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked.
Which is a lot for us. In lockdown plus curfew doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, it's because it's very easy to get, isn't it?
I think we got curfew at 10k.
Yeah. Really?
And then it went down to 5k. And now we're back up at 7. So we're doing great. And they're talking about making things, relaxing some of the rules.
Yeah, they want to open cafes.
Oh, well, I will tell you what happened here when we did that. So we did that, when like everybody had that crazy spike in January and went down and nobody know why. Everybody thought, oh, maybe since we don't know why and it's going down, maybe we should just open stuff. Well, now there are no hospital beds.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we have a stay-at-home order and they just announced, sorry, I laugh because it's like a coping mechanism. Like,
right.
And they just announced this morning that they're doing like triage procedures and choppering people to car parks because there's no beds. So yeah, they decided in February, they were like, 50 people's indoors seems safe if you could put a ruler between the tables. Like, okay, whatever. It's a thing that they did. And now here we are. So, but it must be frustrating there because it seems like you don't have the comparative ramping in vaccines that's going on. Like here, it's like, okay, it's gone to hell, but they've locked down, and now they're literally showering people with jabs. Like it's just,
I would love one so bad.
Yeah.
It's so super annoying because I see so many people in the US that are my age that are getting their second vaccine.
Yeah.
And here we are in the fucking Netherlands and also great Europe.
Same in Canada, by the way. It's even more frustrating being in the same time zone and right across the border and knowing that we can't get them because they won't share. So
capitalism is amazing. But the thing is, they say everyone who wants to get the vaccine can get it before July.
I mean, this is tangentially maybe related to tech, but there's been this big story here. So like Ontario is a pretty industrial province, and there's a lot of big Amazon warehouses here. And one of them got forced to close for like 2 weeks because it was so bad with the variants there that they kept having outbreaks. Like 900 people in this one warehouse caught it.
Wow.
And the government just announced they're changing the strategy actually to like basically rain vaccines on those companies in the car park. So like they're going to take buses to the Amazon warehouse and like offer them vaccines no matter what age they are basically in the car park. It's interesting because it's like I would say it's like a excuse for terrible labor practices to continue rather than fixing it. But on the other hand, it's like,
they're not going to fix it in the coming months anyway.
Yeah, and those people don't have the time to go to a vaccine clinic. Like like Amazon is measuring when you take a shit. So like as we saw in the last
they don't
week.
have the time because of Amazon. You really just like Freddie said something about capitalism. It's like this is truly it. Is the government is driving buses of vaccines to people that are locked into employment in unsafe working conditions for capitalism.
Yeah, but on the other side, as I just said, the government isn't going to sort that out within a couple of weeks either.
That's unfortunately the problem. Like it's fascinating how there's a lot of evidence that the Amazon stuff is driving a lot here in communities. Like they had to stop bus routes that past that specific Amazon warehouse because everybody on that bus route kept getting sick. Like it's just actually absurd.
Wow.
And like the Amazon warehouse has been closed for, I don't know, almost 10 days now.
So being poor just got even worse, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the story of the pandemic, I think, if nothing, among all of the other things.
Yeah,
anyway.
Because when I was complaining about, in America they're already getting vaccines and we're getting nothing until June, like the whole of Africa and the parts of Asia aren't getting anything for 2 more years.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
like
fucked.
This became sort of memeified on Twitter, but like the original message was like, just because you're vaccinated, don't travel to another country.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to a place that doesn't have all these Americans I'm seeing like, now that I'm vaccinated, I'm going to Europe this summer, and I'm like, don't come. Like, just don't come. Well, you said how, like, people with means will make it work. You know, they'll get here. Even if the borders are closed, like, if you have money, you'll get here.
I mean,
but it's like,
rich people have been traveling throughout the whole pandemic.
Yeah, that's true.
The amount of people I've had to unfollow on Instagram. No, so the funny thing that's actually not funny, but the thing that's going on here now is, so the Canadian border has been closed for the longest time ever since the war. And
which war?
Now apparently the US is like desperate to reopen it so that people can like reunite and go on vacations and like travel, and Canada is actually saying like, no, like, guys, you didn't give anything to us, and so like we can't open it. Like, what do you mean? Apparently it's like a whole thing.
Which war? Which you said since the war?
The Second World War was like the last time the Canadian border was closed for any significant time, which is crazy.
But a lot of people seem to be thinking, if everyone's vaccinated, then the world can just continue on like
only
it used
if
to be.
Only within your country.
Yeah. Because you can still carry the thing.
Yeah.
And give it to people and shit, right?
And now the CDC is saying that the Netherlands has so many variants out of control here that even fully vaccinated
we have
people
that too.
aren't safe.
I saw we have the same advisory. It's something. Yep.
Yeah, because we're kind of like a microbiome for like this thing to get even worse, which is in the worst interest of anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
For that to happen.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like, imagine all being vaccinated and cool and everything, and then the Netherlands is like, wait, we found a variant that doesn't work with the vaccine.
We got 12 more.
That really scares me, honestly.
Yeah, it does.
Let's talk about tech then.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into COVID-19 podcast.
Oh, in chipper news this week, Intel has finally done the thing.
Intel did the thing. I wish that like there was a way to just show the image that we're looking at on this podcast. Like, I know that we could link it and stuff, but please describe what Intel made a screenshot of.
Yeah, so I'm looking specifically at a screen on my other computer that is a guy who's presenting for Intel, and he's like talking you through how this product works. What we're talking about is Intel, and this is a thing that people have been trying to make this for years. Mm-hmm. I saw actually another app that's called Bleep from 2015.
Is it actually called Bleep? Oh, it is.
Yeah. So it was that one was from 2015, didn't work so well. It's basically AI that helps streamers and gamers to bleep away their curses while they game, so you can have like a more PG, stream, which sounds amazing. Great idea. But it's also immediately gets really, really, really strange when you go into the details. Because,
can we first say it looked like April Fool's parody?
Yeah, it does. Especially the screenshot that I'm looking at with the guy who's presenting. I'm gonna show that to you guys in the show notes because it's really funny. It's an older guy with a goatee and a kind of like old grandpa hat.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's explaining to you, he's going through what we're bleeping. This is the interface of Bleep. Right. So some things have a hard yes or no. So the N-word, for instance, you can turn it on or off.
So the N-word toggle, yes.
Cool. That's already a little bit. And then, we're presenting now, aren't we?
Can you see it?
If you're watching live.
I'm not seeing it, which is weird.
It's not really working.
All right.
So then other topics, because there's different categories in swearing, right? Certain other categories have sliders. So if you feel like a little misogyny today, you can just have a little bit.
You can have some, most, or all. Just to be clear, or none. So you can have no misogyny. You can have some, most, or all. I would like some misogyny on my stream, please.
You can just make your own mix. Today I want to have some misogyny, but just a little bit of LGBTQ plus hate.
But all of white nationalism.
Yes, and
which there is a legitimate
lot of aggression,
for.
Please. All these. There's also the slider for ableism and body shaming.
Oh Lordy, just some, please.
Yeah, the thing is,
what can we just?
It's not inherently bad to make a thing like this, but to categorize it like this, it just shows the underbelly of our society in such an ugly fucking way.
Yeah, it's just like, we'll just hide it rather than addressing it.
But also the person who made this had to at some point design a screen that says ableism and body shaming, and then the slider none, some, most, all,
and the
then
screenshot
the
shows that it's all selected all.
Yeah, in this case it is.
Yeah.
In the subtext it says hateful speech about body with disabilities and specific physical conditions.
That's the part I have a lot of questions about. It's not just the some, most, all, none slider, but also that it's like, I do want name calling, but not racist name calling, or I do want racism, but not the N-word, or I want the N-word, but
I would
not
like
body.
all white nationalism.
It really should just be like an appropriateness filter, and it should just have like an on switch, and it should probably be default, right? Like, don't you think that that they should actually just build a moderation tool rather than?
Well, the thing that I do like about it is that it gives you control over what you're saying, but And also it could happen that because it's AI, that a certain word you use all the time that sounds like it could be a cuss word or whatever, you can kind of like tweak it out. Something like that could be nice. And I can also imagine if you are a Black creator, that maybe you want to say the N-word for some reason.
And there is another thing in here that I see why they wanted to make this from the point of view that there's a thing that's going on like Twitch, for example, that during streams, if you have voice chat on in the game, you can catch a lot of this stuff on your stream and get banned for it. So like if
true.
somebody
other people can say.
So I see what they're doing there. I don't think this is it though.
Yeah.
This ain't it. I actually think that's the name of the title. Yeah, the title of the article is Intel, a white nationalism slider ain't it. True.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that apparently this technology exists, but again, wrong thing. Oh man, I genuinely, I literally hadn't looked at this properly until like you dropped it in Discord, because I literally scrolled past it thinking it was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, well, it looks like one, but it is not. The thing is, I do think there's a need for a product like this. But
not this.
To dissect the toxicity that people have or do not have, and let them fill this thing in like a form, like for them to just make their own blend of what is good and bad. It just feels weird.
And also, well, there's another factor in here though. It's like, well, okay, I turn on the white nationalism side of the sun, right? Who decides that?
Right.
Yeah, and what is in it? A little bit.
How do I know?
In this case,
like that just doesn't tell you anything either. Like doesn't mean anything.
I also
how overt. Like, I just don't get it.
There's also some joke here about how like this is what Intel was working on while Apple was like developing an M1 chip,
wiping the floor with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this has been Intel's shtick for a long time. Is like they do weird shit like this rather than like doing what they're good at, and I just don't understand it ever.
I have to put a side note in that this is not final, so this is what's going into beta.
Oh, good.
And so some of this is still up for debate or for change. So, yeah,
That's what I'd say too if I had an N-word switch. So, look, it's dumb. I don't know what else there is to say about this other than, like, maybe don't. It's interesting that the framing is to, like, hide it rather than, like, tell you that maybe your stream is racist or something. Like, it doesn't do anything to help you. It just hides it. But
also, say you were a racist, right?
Why would you install this?
Would you want to fill in this thing and, like, have this information basically somewhere on the internet?
Well, I thought this wasn't for your own voice, but, like...
Yeah, it's for other people on your stream.
The people in your stream, so if you're playing a game... This reminds me of what we just talked about with the buses of vaccines to the Amazon warehouse. It's like there's a systematic problem with like capitalism and workers' rights and fair labor practices, and you're not going to solve it in 3 weeks.
Yes.
So the Band-Aid, this seems like the same thing is like there's a huge issue that needs to be addressed, but...
Well, why isn't this applied in, for example, if the problem's coming from people randomly chatting in games, why don't you apply this exact tech to boot them and ban them rather than like just allow it to happen and mute it?
Well, that's...
And also...
that's the Intel thing, though, is they'll make these devices to inform like what their technology could be used for. But they don't produce those laptops or foldables or stuff. They just like make them as proof of concept, so Lenovo will make the laptop. And so maybe this is similar. It's like, well, using, a system on a chip there or whatever, you can have real-time moderation controls based on all these different things.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem with this is like they always do it like that and like...
Yeah.
So the part that I could see this work for is like if, say, a streaming platform like Twitch has a blend of this and uses this on its own platform. And so they can do the sliders instead of the people individually. or you know what I mean, with hopefully a team of people that have some ethical views on this, rather than just, you know, your 17-year-old brother who's just streaming.
Yes. So I think we've said what we can about that. I want to ask you both a question just to completely segue it. Were your phone numbers in the Facebook breach?
Okay.
Oh, I didn't check.
I didn't check because was my information pwned website also looked sketchy. I was like, is this a great way to collect people's information? And the second time I saw the link for it, I think it was in our Discord, I clicked on it and it was like the site's down.
Oh,
so like,
I think it's on Have I Been Owned now, but
let's do it live.
Yeah, type your phone number in. So while Zach goes to see if he's been owned,
I also want to see
this and Freddie. So what happened is, and I'm sure I'll get a message from Facebook PR if I say this the wrong way. Facebook this week, there's a big revelation that there was this huge 500 million phone number breach. Actually, more than a year ago, it was in 2019. And it was actually available for more than 2 years, but you had to pay for it. And so, as with a lot of these breaches, like, you know about it, but it's not a big deal because it's not out there on the open internet. Well, now it's free and anybody can download it. Now, the breach was that they published all of the phone numbers on Facebook and a bunch of other metadata, which means that you can now find out, like, for example, it had the names attached to those phone numbers. So if you were in the breach, it was like, if you search Owen Williams, you could find my phone number. Thankfully, I am not in the breach. I did not get sucked. I checked all of my phone numbers. Somehow I dodged it.
I dodged it too, but just to back up a step of like how this happened.
Oh my God, that's the most absurd thing.
Put every phone number in the world in an address book and then created a Facebook account, and Facebook goes, import your address book, we'll see who of your friends are online.
Yeah, and if there's a match,
it gives the name associated with the phone number.
Which is insane.
Facebook's assuming that you know the person because you have their phone number.
And by the way, they were warned about this for years. That's the crazy thing is, like, I have seen at least 3 different security researchers saying they tried to tell Facebook at various times over the years, and Facebook said it wasn't a bug.
But the thing is that, of course, Facebook knew about this, but for them, the pluses were just a little bit better than the downsides of this. And this is a thing this is also a thing that happens all the time. Like, for instance, Clubhouse lets you do this thing also, where you have to upload your whole address book into whatever they do. And someone told me that this was actually on a different podcast, a Dutch podcast anyway, doesn't really matter. They had their the phone number of their dentist in the phone, which is a thing that happens. And then she could see other people that also go to this dentist.
Ooh, that's not good.
Beautiful. I mean, I saw somebody mentioning their like drug dealer in New York who was showing up. Yeah. Like, and I think that's the funny.
But it's also your therapist. It's also maybe your sex therapist.
Well,
it's
and
also
the Facebook thing has been a big deal for a long time, right? Because there was a story, I think it was by Kashmir Hill a number of years ago, about like finding their estranged sister that they never met or something through the frickin' friends you may know tool. Like, there's been a lot of drama about this, and I think there's a big story here about how tech companies don't think phone numbers are private information. But this breach has demonstrated that it is, because you can go in there and search the European Data Protection Commissioner's fucking name, and their phone number's in there. And there's like this story, I can't remember who published it, but they texted them. and like Facebook's like, yeah, but it's not a breach. We're not going to notify people. And it's like, well, you just owned me. Like, now people know my phone number. I have to, like, it's like moving house.
Yeah. So I have always, seen my phone number as very private.
Yeah. It's like you're having your address on the internet. Right.
It's also why I never posted it onto Facebook or never did anything with like importing.
And they probably still have it somehow.
No, I didn't get owned at all, actually.
Interesting. Well, in this breach.
In this breach. Yeah, true. But you know what I mean? Like,
I'm the same. But I don't think I was the same a few years ago. I don't think I thought it was that private. And the interesting thing is there's been a big push in like mobile operating systems for like privacy, especially on iOS, right? All of these, like Facebook can't track you, but they still allow uploading your contacts and like willy-nilly as well, like just one button.
The really bad thing here in the Netherlands is that the Chamber of Commerce just sells your phone number.
I hate that.
Oh my God, I know. So for context, if you live in the Netherlands and you register a company, first of all, there's other problems as well. Like they out your actual address, but your phone number is sold.
My social security number also.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, my social. What they did, smartasses here, is this angers me so
Brain
much.
Dutch government.
Oh my fucking God. They were like, wouldn't it be great if the VAT number is also your social security number?
That happens in the United States if you're like an independent business, like a freelancer, and before you hit a certain, depends on the state, but before you hit a certain like income threshold, you don't register a business, you register yourself doing business as. And that's the same way. Your tax ID is just your social security number.
This is exactly the same thing here in the Netherlands.
So
I think it is awful. Recently, they have changed this, and so they have given me a new VAT number, which isn't my social security number anymore. But it's the internet, so anything is online forever. And they didn't give me a new social security number anyway. So
none of us was zucked, but I know a fair amount of people who were, and like. What do they do? The brazenness.
What do you do? Change your phone number?
Well, so the brazenness of Facebook is like, it's not private information, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to tell people. I'm like, changing your phone number is no small feat now, including from Facebook. Like, they use it for verifying you are who you are. Your bank uses it for that. I don't know who the fuck has it anymore. Moving country actually reveals this. Like you move country and you're like, I would like to, I live here now. I'd like to log into my Dutch bank. Well, I definitely cannot anymore because I have to find my Dutch SIM card. And just changing your phone number is a huge deal with these companies. Like often they haven't even built a tool to change it in the app. You have to call them or like do a whole thing. It's just the absolute worst.
One of the reasons I love the Pixel 5 so much is it's got dual active SIM. So you can get a text message to both your SIM cards at the same time. Versus all the previous Pixels, you would have to go in,
switch,
into your network settings and switch, and then the other one would be inactive while you were. So you'd miss calls and text and voice messages, especially if you'd forget to do that periodically. Now the Pixel 5 lets you, and I believe the latest iPhone has that. Maybe the last two generations of iPhone have that. But yeah, that just because it's like, I have to log into a thing, but I created that account when I lived in a different country, and nobody at Facebook has heard of stalkers. Nobody.
What are those?
They're like, that's public information. Well, it's not. Like I changed my number because somebody had it. Like that's why people change their numbers.
Also, you know what I really fucking hate? What comes up and stalking comes up far too often in tech. As like a thing that is so easy.
Yeah.
Like I find it like it's like very often it's a topic of our conversation. Like, did nobody think about stalking? And for me, it's yet another like sign that people do not listen to women. People do not, listen to people that have these experiences. It can't be that bad, right? Am I right?
They don't talk. They don't talk to the users though. So. Anyway, I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to backtrack all of this and they're going to have to tell people that it happened, but it's going to take a lot of pressure. And phone numbers are the digital equivalent of addresses, and I wish we wouldn't use them that way because like this whole thing has shown that like all of these stupid services that use your phone number to log in should not be doing it. It's really hard. And anybody who's had like SIM swap or whatever will tell you how much it sucks if you lose the phone number. So it's like, can we come up with something better, please?
Yeah.
Email exists. So,
and from a security perspective, there's like SIM spoofing and all that stuff. And every InfoSec person I talk to is like, don't use your phone number for 2-factor authentication.
And every app harasses you about it. Like I literally just opened Discord to like look at the thing and there's a banner that says like, add your phone number for extra security. I'm like, no, I don't want it.
Some places actually make it seem like you can't use the product if you don't. Which I think is also like, it's a very dark pattern. You absolutely can. Let's talk about something else.
So, no, real quick though, like, do we think Facebook's going to get fined from the EU for violating GDPR?
Ooh.
Because part of GDPR says that companies that have data leaks have to inform their customers within a reasonable period of time, which I think is defined.
I mean, I think that what will happen, here's why I said no. I think Facebook will fight tooth and nail about what the definition of breach is, and it will be snared up for years. Like, I think that they will fight this on a technicality. So they'll probably get notice from the GDPR peoples that says, like, it was a data breach. And then I think Facebook will sue them to say, no, it was just it was a technicality. Because that's what like, I mentioned this before the show, but that's what they're doing right now. Like, if you look at their response to the media, they're literally saying, no, this is an old thing in 2019 and it was caused by somebody doing X on our systems. It's still a breach.
So something that happens less often than Facebook data breaches is Facebook had an outage today, and Facebook and Instagram were both down. And
beautiful.
I
Leave it that way.
It's been a long time since that's happened. I remember an Instagram one not that long ago, but it was just Instagram. But like all of Facebook was down.
I mean, leave it that way.
I didn't notice that it happened at all.
Okay.
I think maybe it happened at night.
Well, it was this morning. I guess it's night for America, where Facebook's based, and I don't know. It probably affected people on the other side of the planet more. I'll tell you what's
noticed me. I noticed that for a reason, and it's for this thing that really bothers me that I'm just going to bring up, which is like, tech sites publish whole fucking stories about this now. Facebook is down because they get heaps of traffic from it, and it's like, it's not a fucking news story. You aren't their outage website. Like,
it's like every time Elon Musk says something dumb.
Oh my lord!
They have to write an article
every day.
He's like, "We're going to do Jurassic Park," and some poor person at every news agency has to write a story because he's the richest fucking asshole in the world. So, okay, what else we got? Freddie, you had some more topics.
Wait, we're having 1 second with Owen, I think. No, what's going on? Oh, he's muted.
Sorry, I was. I was just asking dog stuff.
Dog stuff. Did you feed the dog? The dog wants food. It's like classic. Did you feed the cat?
Yeah.
And it's more, where's the dog's harness this time? So
the cat will always pretend he never had food.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
starving.
Especially now that I'm home all the time. He's like, "Oh my god, feed me! You're here, feed me!" Like, why? Just feed me. And like the bowl is full, but I'll go over there. I'm like, "Oh, maybe you're famished." No, bowl's full.
Yeah, sometimes I do the thing where I just go through the bowl a little bit, and then he wants to eat again.
Oh yeah, this sounds pretty good. Cats.
Idiots.
Yeah. Anyway,
Can you imagine what do you want to talk about? Same thing every meal, every day.
Some days, at this point in the pandemic, I almost just want to. I'm so tired of cooking.
I can maybe do it like same breakfast every day.
Lunch.
But then,
lunch is the worst food. I hate choosing lunch.
Boterham met kaas.
I love the cat food tangent we went on. Do you want to tell us about browsers?
Yeah, I mean,
are you allowed to?
It's an interesting story because I feel like it's kind of boring in audio, but maybe I can do it quickly. So there's this company, they have a great domain name. TheBrowser.company is their domain name. That's based in New York. That's building a new web browser. And, whenever you say you're building a new web browser, the truth is it's actually like Chrome, of course. But these folks basically think that they have some original ideas for browsers. And I got invited this week to try it. And I have to say, it's really, really cool. So I think I can talk about it. I just can't share screenshots. But basically, they're trying to add, because browsers honestly have stagnated. Like the biggest thing that I've seen in years is Chrome has tab groups, and it's fine.
Edge has vertical tabs.
Yeah, and like a lot of them are just UX tweaks. And so these folks are basically trying to like reboot how the browser works. So in this browser, I can't even say the name, but I'll just describe some of it. They switch the paradigm. So first of all, everything's on the left. There's no tab bar at the top, which is like, whoa. And then it's completely oriented around lists and pinning. And so the idea is you make these lists, which you can focus on, and they're like sort of workspaces. So I have one for work, and it's like email is there, calendar is there, I have like internal tools, and you click focus and you only see those tabs. And then if you open a new tab, it like lives in this little area on the bottom left. But the whole thing is designed to encourage you to pin the stuff you work on a lot. Because if the truth is, I spend most of my day in like 10 tabs that are the same website and like switch between them. And so that's what this does. But then they add stuff on top of that. So like for Gmail, for example, they're testing like a little widget that if you hover on it, it tells you how many emails you've got. Or like there's a calendar one that says your next appointment. And then if you hover on it, you can see your calendar. And it's just a really refreshing concept because you go into this focus mode, you can't see anything else. All the stuff you use is there. And then you're like, I want to goof off. So you go into I have like a chill zone, and it's like Twitter and Reddit and like some news sites, and you can nest lists and stuff. But like context switching like that makes a big difference, because my habit is like open, like Control T, Twitter, control, like all day long. But this completely changes that because it's like very intentional. And there's some really cool small stuff, like you can rename tabs, which makes a lot of sense because often like I have a document, for example, I want to read, but the title is nonsense. And so I can rename it and be like team stuff to fit like my mental model, which is a really cool way to do it as well. And then I have a command palette. That's probably the other cool thing is so like you can push, I think it's Control K. And it opens like, in Slack, you can like get the search thing. It's kind of like that. And you can do all the commands.
This is the new hotness. Every app I use has this now. Pitch,
so I'm in two other
Slack,
apps.
Like everything
I'm in two other
this.
private beta apps that also use it. So there's an app called Cron, which is like a calendar app, like Superhuman. Same deal. You can do everything from this thing. And then there's Texts.com, which, by the way, I thought was bullshit. And holy shit, that's cool. Texts.com is like... all your texting apps in one, including iMessage. So you can do iMessage, Telegram. Real? It's real. There's two apps. So there was Bleeper, I think was the other one that just got shared like a few weeks ago. And you could use a hacked iPhone to do it. But that one's still not out. But Texts.com is crazy. So you can like, it supports Telegram, iMessage, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, Discord, and all in one app. And they also have a command palette, so you can be like mark all as red, or like switch to Frederique, or like pin this thing, and it's all there in the thing. Command palettes are huge. I think it's because power users
call it command
want
palette.
I don't know what else it's called.
I would call it a quick menu, or
I think that's just the technical
Spotlight.
name.
What's it called on macOS when you hit Command Space Bar? Spotlight. Yeah,
it's like it depends, because like I call it that because in Slack it would be search, but in these things it's like sort of both, which makes it interesting.
Actions. Yeah, Pitch calls it the quick menu, and it's pretty cool because you can like select objects on the canvas and like align them to each other with just using your keyboard.
Right.
Yeah, it's very
quick. So this browser is very interesting for that reason. It's very early. Like I think there's only like 150 people on it, so I can't give you invites. I'm sorry, but when they're available, I'll spread them around.
Wait, you were talking about text.com as well.
Yeah. So I was just going to finish the browser thing really quickly.
Okay, sorry.
But that's really cool. I think there's a lot of opportunity to, build new stuff there. Like I think browsers are stuck in the old days, and like adding new paradigms and ways of working. Like we spend all day in the browser. Why the fuck aren't we doing cool stuff to like play with that world?
I mean, the thing that I have in I don't know if you guys in which category you fall, but I only have 5 tabs open at all times.
Me
max.
too, largely. Yeah.
Those people that have like the little Toblerone on the top, so many tabs, that freaks me out.
Yeah, that freaks me out too. But this is what this browser is designed to do, is to stop that.
Sometimes what happens is that I just choose to close something even though it's still relevant, or I will open a new window with a new set of tabs and so I can go back to the other tabs on a later moment when it makes sense. So
this is what this thing does.
I'm basically
So you make your lists and you
like
collapse them as you go, because that's sort of how I work now. I used to be a Tolbarone person, and I had dealt with it by just aggressively using Pocket for everything that I wanted to read later, and then
but then Pocket becomes this. I don't know if you ever had a subscription to a newsletter.
Yeah.
But newsletters stack. And they stack and stack and stack. And you start feeling bad because you haven't read them.
It's
and you'll
the same
never
thing
read
with
them.
tabs.
And,
so I use it as a way to get out of keeping it in my tab. If I'm never going to read it, that's fine. And so I use it that way. Same with, I star everything in Google Docs to get rid of it. I'm really aggressive. And so this thing is really, really good for that, because it's designed to, like, you have these lists, you keep them around until you've dealt with them, you destroy, like, you build them and tear them down all the time. Very, very cool.
Speaking of the newsletter problem, I know that everyone ragged on hey.com when it came out, but like the way that it deals with newsletters is really nice.
Yeah, I wish I had an excuse to use that thing still. I just can't switch from Gmail. So I'm in too deep, man. And text.com is the other cool one. Like, I can briefly go over that. It's like an aggregator. It reminds me of, like, did you ever use Trillium back in the day? Any of these apps where you could sign into multiple, like, ICQ and MSN on the same thing?
And AIM,
It's like that. So you can sign into Telegram and iMessage. It all works.
And WhatsApp and
WhatsApp and
Instagram DMs and Signal.
It's nice. It works.
So I just signed up, and it's put me on a wait list. And then it says, if you'd like to skip ahead and use the beta desktop app, you can get an invite from a friend who's already using it. So
you get one invite a week, so I'll let you know when I have one.
Oh, damn.
I've only been on it for weeks, so I don't have any.
Oh. I just assumed, like, you could just text me and it would happen, but I understand if it's like...
I wish. So
what a sick domain name, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's
text.com.
I think that's like companies throwing their weight around a little bit. Like hey.com, for example, is like, it kind of works because they can throw a lot of money and get a good domain.
And it's how you get hype. Like, it works, man. I pay attention if you've got a good domain. So
what's the classic, like, Web 1.0 bubble burst company? Is it like pets.com? Was it pets.com?
Yeah, it's like these big TLD things. Yeah, pets.com.
And then they, raised a ton of money and were worth a bunch.
Isn't it owned by, like, Chewy now? I think it's owned by Chewy.
Oh, I always assumed Amazon got to catch them all on that one.
But go to pets.com. I love that, like, Elon Musk still has x.com and, like, doesn't use it for anything. It's empty. Like, the other, like, once upon a time, pets.com goes nowhere.
PetSmart
bought
it.
PetSmart. Ooh.
Nice.
That was the slowest redirect of all time. PetSmart is the worst, by the way. Like, just the worst e-commerce experience. Nobody on this call cares about this, but my lord alive. Anyway, so x.com, if you go to x.com, there's an X. There's just an X on the page. And Elon Musk tweeted, like, a month or two ago, like, what should I do with this domain name? I'm like, oh my lord.
I hate that guy.
I was going to say, I already disliked him, but it's getting worse and worse for the guy.
The more you learn, the more you hate,
Oh my fucking lord. I mean, I tried to read his book once. It was awful.
Yeah.
Did he write it, or is it a book about him?
It's a book about him, but, like, it's not so much as it's written well, so props to the writer, but just the information that you find out about this fucking person is awful.
You're like, no thanks.
Well, I mean, like, at some point they're talking about the whole Smaragd thing in South Africa, and you're like, cool, look. Bunch of white people stealing.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
So
classic.
This aside.
Do you want to... Go ahead.
Oh, no.
We had chip shortages, NFT tanking. iMessage never coming to Android is actually a good segue from text.com, because with text.com you could get your iMessages on Android.
Haha, take that, Apple.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have iMessage on Android right now, and I use it every day for the last year for an app called AirMessage.
We talked about it on the show.
I have a hack on my Mac Mini in the basement.
I mean, we have talked about this before, right? Where we were wondering if it was ever gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Recently in the trials with Epic Games, the other thing that we talked about before,
which is still happening.
But to TLDR it's basically Epic Games saying Apple is a monopoly.
It's true.
And because they find the what was it, 30% cut? It was all about the 30% cut, and they were like, it's unfair. And
and they did that circumvention. And when was that? It was probably last year. Yeah,
it's a year ago, maybe longer.
Yeah.
So I don't know the latest on that, but in this trial, they one of the evidence is that Apple is a monopoly is the extreme lock-in that happens from iMessage. And they have kind of pointed out that they would never have iMessage for Android for this reason, because it's the hardest lock-in. And it is true. And I've pointed this out many times before also, because I have a Windows computer and an Apple phone. I can still use iMessage on my phone, but not on my Windows laptop. Although I could use the app that Owen just said.
And the example they gave is actually it was like it would make people not give iPhones to their children because then they would be able to message them. And like that is you see the same behavior with the iPad, how you can't sign in as different users. It's because they want you to buy multiple pieces of metal from them.
Yeah.
And like, it's just, this was obvious, I think, but just seeing it spelled out and in the light of day was sort of like,
interesting. Yeah. So I feel like Apple always wants to do this thing where you are an Apple person or not. It's not like
100%. Because you can't be a blue bubble if you don't have the shiny boy.
But like I feel this. I live this in a way also because I have a Windows computer and then all my other products are Apple.
You need text.com because then you can iMessage on Windows.
I can't tell you how often I think next computer I buy is a MacBook. Just because, not because I think the Windows laptop is not good enough, but just because it fits better in my whole ecosystem. And there is just things that make my day worse just because they're not available for, the Windows computer. Like iMessage, I talk way less to my friends on iMessage because I don't like to look at my phone all day. I miss AirDrop.
Yeah.
I miss AirDrop. I can't stop saying how much I miss AirDrop. It's,
Yep.
Anyway, text.com.
Just real quick though, like iMessage on Android wouldn't actually be good. Like,
no, it would be so bad.
If you have an Android phone, if you've tried the Apple Music app, which is made by Apple, I mean, like they reskinned the Beats app, I think, the Beats Music app, but it's one of the worst experiences ever. Where there was a time where I was like, I'll just switch to Apple Music because it's like included in my Apple One subscription, so I'm already paying for it, so might as well use it. Oh my god, it's one of the worst apps I've ever used.
Yeah, because they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't see it as a way to make money or keep users. They don't worry about it. And I just think if they did iMessage for Android, it's not like they're going to throw a bunch of people at it and make it really good.
No, it'll
Unlike
be
Google,
exactly.
who makes the Google apps for iPhone really nice. I mean, they're good apps. But
but I guess it's different for them because they are kind of, they're not dependent on their phones.
They're not a hardware company,
When you said that you were trying the Apple thing out, I remember that you switched away from Spotify and you haven't told us about this yet.
It's a good question because I don't know how long it'll last. I can't remember the breaking point, but like Spotify sucks. Like, it's just that everyone has it was the compelling part. It's just like iMessage. It was the same lock-in. It's like, oh, my friends are on it. Well, Spotify was the same thing. It's like, what do I use it for? Well, mostly for podcasts. There's plenty of options there. We just had a whole thread in our Discord about podcast app options. And so I have a YouTube Premium subscription and an Apple One subscription. So right now I have 2 free music apps included in other subscriptions I have. So I was like, why am I also paying for Spotify? So I downloaded the Google Podcast app again. They've done amazing things on the phone, but the version of it that you can access anywhere other than on the phone is really bad. So, I have a Chromebook, which I use primarily, but it won't let you install the Android version of the app. You have to use the web version. It just says it's not available in the Play Store, which is really bizarre. And it's missing like half the features that exist on my phone. And then I've been using YouTube Music. There's a bunch of these websites where you just like create an account and then you can log in with the API to your different music services and it will migrate your playlists. And then you just cancel your account. So I did that. I signed up for like a free trial and moved all of my playlists to Tidal and YouTube Music just to try them out. Tidal because Square bought it, and the guy who's in charge of Tidal now, Jesse Dorogusker, is like a great guy that I really liked working with. So I just thought I'd give it a chance. But YouTube Music, it's included with my YouTube Premium subscription. So I was like, why not just fuck around and find out? It's not bad. I mean, it's like
fuck around and find out. I love it.
It's probably not as good as Spotify, but the amount of time I spend curating a playlist in my music app, it's not a ton. Like most of the time it's just like play a playlist. So I'm not like in the app a lot. And since that's how much is Spotify now? $15 a month? $10 a month?
Ooh, I don't know. It depends on what kind of...
That's expensive, I swear to God.
I just don't pay for it anymore, and I'm happy knowing I'm not paying, like, Joe Rogan to be racist.
True.
And a transphobe. Like, I don't pay for Joe Rogan anymore,
which
is nice.
But how do you find the... Like, one of the things that I really appreciate about Spotify in general is the way they feed you new music. And I wonder if you even use that, and if so, how is that experience on the other apps you use though?
I would say I haven't been on long enough to really know. But like YouTube has 3 tabs at the bottom. It's your home, explore, and library. And explore is all about discovering new stuff. So it just goes new releases, top charts. That is actually the thing. Mine defaults to the Dutch top charts, and there's in the app there's no way to switch it. If you're on
same with Spotify, it was so annoying.
If you're on the web version, you're just on youtube.com. Like you can that's the cool thing too, is you can interact with it on YouTube and the YouTube or music.youtube.com. You can switch what country's top you're looking at, but not on the phone. Right. But yeah, I don't know, it's fine. The like, you know how Spotify has pre-built playlists for different like moods? The ones, the variety that YouTube has is pretty good. There's like a lot of choices. But yeah, I don't know.
In the beginning,
In
the beginning, you said you don't know how long it will last.
Yeah, there's like little things sometimes where I'm just like, I know how to do this in Spotify, but I don't know how to do it here. And it's because I've switched to 2 different apps. So I'll open Tidal and be like, wait, okay, oh, all right, okay, but I think the thing that stopped me is the YouTube Music app. I couldn't figure out how to play it on my Sonos.
Oh,
I don't know that it's in there. It's like, do you want to cast?
You would have to use the Sonos app to
Chromecast?
browse it. Yeah.
And Spotify's just got the like Sonos button. So that's the one thing is like, I don't know. Tidal is really good about music quality. And so the Sonos thing was actually like even easier than on Spotify.
That's not great in Spotify.
But it's also like one of the reasons
I was gonna say
I left Spotify was it's another thing I have to pay for every month. And I just feel like I'm inundated with subscriptions. And Tidal is just that again. I'm waiting to see like how Square integrates it, because it might be like, do it with Square Cash and it costs you like 0.0001 Bitcoin to subscribe or something. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with it. But
that's what makes the YouTube thing appealing to me, at least, even though I probably won't do it, is like it's included.
Exactly.
And it's pretty smart for them to do that, because the ads on YouTube are awful now. So many ads.
The weird thing is when I go to youtube.com now, sometimes the recommendations are music videos
Right.
related to what I've been listening to in the
Yeah, it
music
like mixes
app.
them together, which is weird. I noticed that when I tried it. It's like, I don't want to watch music videos, bro. Like, can I just opt out?
But it's kind of cool in that, like, if you wanted to share a Spotify playlist, right, it's like only in Spotify.
Yeah.
If you share a link, someone has to like listen to that in Spotify. But like, I guess it's the same thing. But you can make your playlists public to your YouTube profile.
Cool.
So people can go to your YouTube page and listen to your playlists.
Right.
And so if you were at like a friend's house, you could just like...
It's a lot easier. Yeah, because I know people who just use normal YouTube music too. So like that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool just to like surface your playlists in a different way like that. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see if Google kills it.
really, really, really well on Android because it's kind of built for it. You know, they shut down Google Play Music.
Oh yeah,
moved everybody over to this, so it is a very good experience. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The Sonos thing might be the killer for me.
It's always the thing. It's like, guys, you have to build in this stuff.
I wish Sonos was a little bit better though, because I have issues with Sonos and Spotify all the time.
All they need to do is just make it faster. Like, it's so slow. So I'm like, just make it fast.
That's not all they need to do, Owen. It's
and
all
reliable.
this kind of stuff. There's all this kind of stuff. Also, for instance, now I have 2 Sonos speakers, and for some reason, the one in my kitchen won't work at the same time with the one in my living room if I don't use the stupid Sonos app.
And the app sucks.
Do you know the hold the play button trick?
No, tell us.
Because then you don't have to use the app. So
What?
You hold the play button on the. So if you have music playing in the living room and you want to bring it to the kitchen, just walk to the speaker you want on and push and hold the play button, and it will just bring it. So you don't have to use the app.
Did you just make my life at least 5% easier?
It's 1,000.
like
It's amazing. Like, I use it all day to not use the app. So I'll have music in the office and then go to the kitchen, just push and hold play button and go boop boop, and then it brings the music.
Wow.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna
Shit.
try.
Yeah,
If
I
it
feel like
works,
they should tell people this. Why does nobody know this?
Do you remember how the Airport Express used to have a headphone jack?
Oh, it was so cool.
And
I
you
always
could
wanted one. The
Plug
plug
your
one.
speakers into your Wi-Fi extender. I just feel like Google should do that with.
Yeah, well, they had the Chromecast audio. They should just do it with their routers, or like do it with
the new
all of
routers.
the junk they sell.
The new routers, there's like the one that's the hub, and the rest are the point. And the point has a speaker and assistant in it. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if it just had a little headphone port, I would literally just plug it into my Sonos and then Chromecast to it. And then my problem
makes me crazy. Like, sell me things with jacks in them so I can plug them into things.
But they want
Sonos
you to buy
should do
their
more
speakers.
of that. Yeah, same with Sonos. Like, you can only get it on the fancy speaker. We have 2 minutes left. Is there any hot takes before we wrap? Other than a complete Sonos rant, or maybe having just blown Freddie's mind. Trust me, it makes a big difference. Actually, on that note, have you seen the new Bluetooth speaker? I really want to buy it, and I'm trying to talk myself out of it.
What are they calling it?
The Roam.
The Roam.
It has the reason I want to bring it up for the last 2 minutes is it has a really cool thing. If you're all in on Sonos, I'm so deep. Is if you have it and you're playing music, say you come in from outside or like you're moving it from a different room, you can double tap the button on it and it flings it to the nearest speaker. Like, somehow, I don't know how, but it just like flings it, and it's such a cool idea. I don't need more speakers. I have no excuse to buy it.
I was going to say, Owen, did you not own one of these?
I have the big boy. I have the big chonkier one, the one with the big
the
handle.
long boy.
But they released like a Yui Boom style one, which is much more practical.
Well, that sounds pretty cool actually, because I right now use a B&O speaker, small one. For like on the go or whatever.
This is what that's for. So you could be listening to music on your bike, walk into your house and double tap and it will just to your speakers, which is very nice.
Although if you listen to music on a speaker on your bike, you're basically a cunt.
Did you have the swears to all just then? No. But no, the other cool thing I forgot about
misogyny's slider is completely open.
I love it. The other thing I want to point out is it has the thing that Move doesn't have is if you play music to the Bluetooth, you can't pipe it into the Sonos. This other one, you can play from your phone, Bluetooth audio, and then get it to the rest of the Sonos, which is huge because then you can you could play it from your computer to Bluetooth to the whole system, because that's been a problem for me for a long time. Is like,
interesting.
I want to get music from my laptop into it without having to have fucking YouTube set up, or maybe I want to do a call through it, but you can't. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And so the idea of this is pretty cool. Anyway,
that's cool. Anyway, that might solve my problem.
This went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
If you don't like Sonos, it's too late. You already listened to this whole part. I was going to say skip the last 10 minutes. That's not how podcasts work.
I can make it in the title or something.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, I guess. I'm gonna go to my job now. So.
We'll probably do an episode on Twitter Spaces around
next week for
something that's coming
for reasons.
And then and so join our Discord to hear about those. That's where we always
and we'll do this again on there probably next week.
Yes.
Next time.
So
So chargepodcast.com to get into the community. There's been some people who joined recently, and it's been nice.
Thank you for joining, new people. Welcome.
So underwhelming. Woo! All right. Well, I hope the Dutch weather gets better, but otherwise, I look forward to the update in 2 weeks.
I hope we all get a jab.
Oh, I want to get jabbed so bad. I've never wanted a jab in my life so badly.
Same.
But not the one that makes my blood clot. Thank you very much.
Ideally.
There's a great tweet going around of this guy went to get his vaccine, and the pharmacist set it down in a tray and then walked away, and he just gave it to himself because he thought that he had to. So he picked up a little alcohol swab and swabbed it, and then
I guess we're doing this.
Social distancing. Okay, yeah, I love that story.
I would probably have that thought too. I've actually, look, we're going to hang up in a second, but I've had it at the dentist sometimes where they put stuff down in the tray right in front of me, and I'm like, oh yeah.
For me? Do you want me to do this?
There's a big metal thing. You're I'm half the time I have to stop myself reacting to pick it up. Yeah. Because it's just right on the tray in front of you, and they're fucking around. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye, Biscuits.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know. I'm going to edit that together.
Oh, no.
Perfect.